Barbara.
And I'm Karen, and we're the Sink Sisters. This is our tech bit on Google Sheets.
All right, so today we're going to take a look at Google's app for spreadsheets called Sheets. It's similar to Excel or Apple's Numbers.
Yeah.
And other spreadsheet programs, but it's free.
It's free. So gotta love the Google apps.
Gotta love it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a new window. No, actually, we can just go right from here.
Yep. So how do you get there is you could go to Google Sheets, sheets.google.com. But we like to access all our Google apps from our Drive.
Right. Drive is...
Yep. We have a video on Google Drive if you're not familiar with it. But it's nice. It's sort of like a virtual hard drive for you to keep all your Google files and other files too.
Right.
So here, when we go to it through Drive, we can see all of our Google files and other files.
So you can see your Google Docs. You can see other files that we've just storing up here on our Drive. Like we have an Adobe Illustrator file and some other things, and you can watch that video.
But you could just go to sheets.google.com, and then it will just show you only your sheet documents.
Right. If you only want to
that's
look
all you're
at those,
doing, just go ahead and knock yourself out there.
Just go ahead and do it. So we're here at Drive. We like to start from Drive, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to the New button, which is easy to find. It's big and it's red.
Yep.
And we're going to tap on New, and it's going to come up, and we can do a few things like folder and file upload and so on. But we're going to go down, and this is the Apps area, and we're going to go to Google Sheets.
Okay.
And it's going to bring up a blank Google Sheet for us here. Just a few navigation things here. Notice that if you want to go back to Drive, you have to go to the other tab to go back to Drive here to your Sheets.
There's no back. If you hit the back arrow, it's not going to go to Drive.
Right. If you go back arrow, it's going to take you to that Google. Oh, no, it's not going to do anything.
No, it's not going to go anywhere.
It's not going to go anywhere.
Just the way Google works.
That's right. So it just opens a new window for it.
Yep.
So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to name our file. Up here it says Untitled Spreadsheet. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put my file name here. So you're going to put your file name there that you want to call your file, and that's how it will show up in Google Drive. And all changes saved in Drive, it says. It's automatically going to save any changes that you make. So you don't have to worry if you just close the window.
Yep.
Here it is. My file name here. I can just go right back into it.
Which is nice.
And bring it up. Yeah, it's very nice. So what is a spreadsheet? You might wonder that.
I think that I'm very confused by spreadsheets. They've always made my head hurt a little bit.
Okay.
And I know that you're very good at them.
Well.
And I know there are a lot of really useful and beneficial things. So perhaps you could help the people like me out there understand it a bit more.
Sure. Spreadsheets are a great way to look at information, especially that contains numbers. Very numbers based. And the way it's laid out is it has columns across the top, it has rows across the bottom or down the bottom. And then each one of these is a cell. Like this one is B1. This one's B2, this one's B3, this one's D, so it's got a coordinate to it. And you can put in cells, you can put numbers, which we talked about. You can also put text in these, and you can put functions or formulas, which we're going to take a look at. So formulas might be finding the average of a row of numbers or adding a row of numbers up, or very complicated. There's a lot of very complicated scientific and accounting type formulas that we'll look at the list. You can scroll down. If you notice, I'm scrolling down, and on the left, look at the numbers changing here. So 66. So it goes all the way down as default to 1,000 rows, and then you can add more. Virtually goes forever. To the right, if we scroll over,
you can't see your hand.
Yeah, that's true. But you can't see my hand? Okay, look here. You're scrolling over, and you've got, it's going over to Z, but we can add more columns, too.
So you can just go crazy.
You can go crazy. You can have a gigantic...
So what would be a good example of something that I might use as an average gal for a spreadsheet?
Well, for what we're going to be building is a little company expenses spreadsheet, for example.
Perfect.
You might keep your home finances on here. You might do a personal financial statement on here. You might want to keep track of your child's college fund on here. And, like my daughter's in college, and I'm showing the money going in and out of her college fund, so we can see where she's at and the average for what she's been spending every year. Anything you can think of for numbers. Now, people will also use it for lists of names and maybe attendees and addresses. And if you look at our Google Forms video, we do show that every Google form creates a spreadsheet list of the responses.
Right.
So there are quite a few different ways. We're going to kind of look at some of the basic ways of using it now.
Sounds good.
So we're going to go ahead and we're going to look at the file first. So up here, we looked at the file name. And then below it, we have all the menus. Okay. Below it, we have the toolbar area. All of the things in the toolbar you can also find in menus.
Sure.
And there are a few more things in menus. We have our cells, which we talked about. This is the formula area here, which we're going to talk about a little bit later.
Okay.
And then down at the bottom, we have sheet 1, this is called. You can have multiple sheets within one file. So, for example, a company might have an expense sheet for every person.
Okay.
And then a summary sheet that pulls the information from all those sheets in.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We're going to go over that in another video, but that's what's down here is just adding a sheet and so on. So if I come up here to this cell and I type in company expenses, for example, notice what's happening here in this formula area. It's typing in everything that I'm putting in this field. So it's just another area. Oops, I scrolled over to put that in. And you might have date. You might have transaction type. You might have paid to, description, and amount. These are your category, your column headings.
Okay.
And then you would come down here and you would start putting your date in. Putting your date in. This is going to be credit card. This is paid to Fabulous Nails. This is KK Nails. And this is $30. Okay. Now notice we don't really have any formatting going on. It looks kind of jumbly right now.
Right.
And it's not formatted as numbers. So instead of typing in a whole bunch of data here, I'm going to close this.
And open one that you have set up.
Yes. And
some
the one,
data.
and that's right here. And we're going to bring that
Or
up.
data, as you called it.
Data. You say data, I say data, whatever.
Yeah.
And here you can see I've got the information in. And we're going to go through and we're going to go ahead and we're going to format it.
Okay.
Okay. So what we're going to look at here first is how we can do different things along the toolbar. Okay. So here we have printing. That's pretty straightforward.
Yep.
This is your undo and your redo.
Perfect.
Okay. This is pasting a format, which we're going to look at a little bit later. You can take a format from one cell and put it into another.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and this is formatting information in the cell. So we're going to come over here. Now, it looks like I had already formatted this as $1. But I can come in here and I can say, well, I want that to be currency, which it already is. I can add or subtract the zeros.
Okay.
So if I only want to, I don't want to show cents, or maybe I'm doing something scientific and I want to show 4 decimal points. I can do that. I could change it to a percentage.
Okay.
And I can go here and do more formatting. This is just saying there's more things you can do. You can make it plain text. You can make it a regular number without the $sign. Scientific, if you've got really huge numbers you're working with. Financial, currency, date and time, which we'll look at in a minute. And then even more formats. More currencies, more date and time, and a custom format. So you have...
Quite complex, right?
Yeah, you have a lot of things that you can do.
So anything you want to do, you can find here.
Right. So we're going to go ahead and just leave that one at currency.
Okay.
Now, so I'm doing one cell here. You can also do an entire row.
Okay.
So let's say I pick that whole row by clicking on the category, the column header. Mm-hmm. Now I can come over here and let's make all those percentages.
Oh, great.
And they'll all change. The text doesn't matter. It knows that's text. Yeah. So it doesn't really care about that. It's not going to do something weird with your text. So we'll go back to dollars now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really nice. Okay, the next is your font. So let's say we're going to take I'm going to click on the cell that has our title in it. And let's say that I want to change the font. I'll go ahead and change the font.
Okay, make it stand out more.
Make it bigger.
Yeah.
I can make it bold. This typeface doesn't have a bold face, so that's not going to work. I could italicize it.
Sure. All your basic word processing.
Strike through, text color,
formatting.
Fill color. Yeah, those are all your text formatting abilities there.
But that's nice. You can make them.
Yep. So maybe I want to go through here and I just want to bold my column headers. Okay. Mm-hmm. I can also do things. Notice that there are light gray lines showing up here. Now, when you print, they will print. They are light gray. Okay. They're not, but you can tell it not to print them, and you can put your own custom ones on.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and say, well, all right, let's take this row, And let's go to borders. And let's put a border around it. And here you notice you can do all borders. So if I had a bigger area selected, it would do, all borders. I can do just the inner borders, upper borders, and so on. I'm going to do outer borders on this one.
That makes sense.
So it'll surround it. And I can also change the color of it. I can say, well, let's make it more Sinks history. We'll make it purple.
Okay.
Okay. And I could change the line type too. I could make it dotted or dashed.
Okay.
We'll just leave it solid. All right. So now you can see that here is purple.
Yep.
The next thing is alignment. So I can go ahead and I can say, well, maybe I want the date to be left aligned.
Yeah.
So I'm going to select that whole column, and I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to pick left aligned. And now it'll be left
nicer,
aligned.
Yeah.
The other thing I don't like right now is notice how the date, because we have different characters, we're not seeing the date isn't the same. This first one is just 1/10/16, and this is 2016. So I'm going to go into our formatting area, and I'm going to go down to date, and you notice I could make them all year. So I'm going to do that. So now they all line up.
It automatically.
Just did it automatically.
Yeah.
Right. So it lined it all up. It took my 16 and made it 2016.
Oh, that's nice. So that's nice.
Yeah.
If you were importing data that wasn't similarly formatted, it's nice to know you can easily do it.
Easily format it. Right. Right. And, if we had other months in here, you would have, because the 1 would be different, maybe a 10. If you didn't like that, you can go to a format that would have like 0, 1.
Yeah.
Now here, we're going to take a look at, before we continue on down here, I'm going to take a look at sizing these columns. Like this is a very small column. So I'm going to get anywhere in between on the column and I can drag it.
You got the arrow.
I got the arrow and I can go either way I want. I'm going to drag that back to, maybe here. I don't want to make it too tiny. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go to here and you're going to see what's going to happen is I lost the rest of my text, right? Transaction type. But I can change that. I'm going to come on that cell, and I can tell that cell to wrap. So I'm going to come over here, and where is my cell wrapping? Here it is, text wrapping. I can tell it to, there are 3 things. I can have it overflow.
To a different cell.
In which case, it'll just show over the cell if there's nothing in the cell. If there's something in it, it's going to cut it off. I can have it wrap, or I can have it clip it. I'm going to go ahead and wrap, and now it's going to make that bigger.
Super nice.
Yeah.
These are things that I never knew.
Yeah.
They're so easy to do, and it would always confuse me, and I'm so glad you're doing this video.
Okay, good. And then maybe I want this centered now. Maybe I'd like that centered transaction type.
Yeah.
Maybe I want the whole column centered. Let's try that. Let's center the whole column. Now, another thing that you can do is you can center within. Notice what it did when it did that wrap was it made my row bigger, this row.
Right.
Because you saw how we sized a column. Yeah. We can also size rows the same way.
Manually like that.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to undo
so
that by using the undo. So what if I didn't want these titles down on the bottom? What if I wanted those to be in the center?
Okay, I bet you can do it.
You can. So here you can vertically align. You can say to the top, to the middle, or to the bottom. They go to the middle.
Great. I love it.
Yeah, so it's kind of fun. Now this one, we probably want to be flush right because we're working with numbers down below.
Yep.
So that's kind of
how
you
can kind of customize it for your data.
Yep, you can go through and customize it for your data.
Perfect.
Then we have inserting a link.
Okay.
So like in Docs or any of the others, you could insert a link in here if you want to. You can insert a comment, which we're going to get into an advanced video about commenting. Google has some great commenting features across all of their apps where you can collaborate with people.
Oh, right. Sort of like note taking for changes or
or
comments.
Right. Yeah. Revisions and comments and so on. We've also got charts, which we're going to look at in a minute. Filtering, and these are all advanced things that we're going to look at. But we are going to take a look at functions. This is the last one. And what we're going to do is we're going to...
I find confusing.
Yeah. Now, obviously here, we would want to add up the expenses for the month. We'd want to see
so that would be a function, right?
Right. So that's a function. Now, I could go in and I'm going to show you now, any of these cells, if I come in and I type an equal sign, I'm going to type an equal sign. Notice what happened. First of all, we got like a little marker underneath here.
Okay.
And up here, put an equals in this function area.
Yeah.
Okay. So I could say, well, this equals this cell plus this cell.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Plus this cell plus this cell. And then I hit return, and it adds it up.
Okay.
When I get over the cell, the number shows in the cell, but look at the formula bar, the function bar.
It shows you the formula.
There's the formula. So if I said, oh no, I actually wanted to subtract that last number, you can change it there.
Easy. Okay.
Yeah, wouldn't make sense here, but that's how you know if there's something in, and it'll show you your formula. And if you double click on the cell, it'll highlight all of the
And
fields.
I see that it's showing up in the formula in that bar up there.
Yeah.
It's showing a color, and then it's the corresponding color of that cell, so you can tell which one it's applying to.
Right, when you do this. And it also says
Orange.
E5, E6,
Right.
E7. So it's showing you what they are. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wipe that out. Because what I want to do is I don't want to add all these, because I might add a few more expenses. I don't think you've turned your expenses in for January yet.
I don't think so.
So we're going to have more to insert, and we wanted to do that,
right.
Automatically. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go in here and I'm going to type the equals sign in. Actually, I don't need to do that if I'm going to use this menu. I'm going to come up here.
Function, right?
Here are probably the most common functions. Summing. It's going to sum a column or a row of numbers. Average, count, maximum, minimum. We're going to do sum. And it comes up, it does a really good explanation. It comes right up and it says sum of value 1 to value 2 through value 2. It returns the sum of a series of numbers and or cells. Value 1 is the first number, value 2 is the last number, and you can learn more about it clicking here. So it does a really good job, but basically you just have to click and drag down.
Oh, that's nice.
So it says E5 through E8. It's going to sum those up.
And then now click on that summary thing and then look at your equation.
Yeah, look at your equation.
It's a little bit different when you added one by one.
Exactly. The colon is saying between these two.
Right.
And you can get really complicated. Notice it's got parentheses. I mean, you can do some really complicated things. But I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add a row. So I'm going to go to the row that I want to add it above, and I'm going to come up here. And this time I'm going to go to the menu, and I'm going to say insert a row above.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to type in 117. And I only had to type 117. It'll put the year in now that we're in date format.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm going to say it was a credit card, and it was to People's Organic, because we had that lunch there. Meeting or lunch.
Lunch. Oh, that's always a good option.
No,
boy, that was cheap.
Yeah. Did you see our number change?
Yes, I did.
Let me add 30.
Because it was a cell you inserted in between those two numbers.
Exactly. So it's just gonna keep updating it. Now, if I had done the plus thing, that wouldn't have worked. I would have had to go change my formula to add that one in. So summing is the way to do an entire continuous row of things.
That's great.
So there are a lot of formulas that you can do. You can come in here to more functions, and it actually brings up a whole nother page of functions and tells you what they are, how to use them. I mean, you can do arrays. Wow. You can do conditional formatting. I could get really smarty pants. Yeah, you can say if this, then do this, otherwise do that. So there's a lot of different things you can do.
So you can get really quite complicated.
You can get very complicated. I don't really have the application to get super complicated with my spreadsheets.
No, right.
But I do a fair amount of calculating formulas, and
right.
It's interesting.
It is.
So that's your toolbar across here. So let's just check our notes here and see where we're at. Borders we did. We did that.
Graphics.
Let's look at
you can make them look pretty.
Yeah, let's insert a graphic.
Yep.
Okay. So let's go ahead and we're going to bring a graphic in. I'm going to go to insert. And you'll notice I can come down, and we already did the row above. You can do column. Sure. You can do a new sheet, comment, note, function, and then chart, image, link, form, drawing. And
we're going to insert an image.
And here it brings up the Google searching or inserting image thing. Very similar.
Other apps.
We're going to go out to our desktop, and we're going to find the Sing Sisters logo, which actually is not there. I'm going to go to Dropbox.
Makes more sense. Dropbox would be a competitor to Google Drive.
Yes, it would, but we are using that.
We like to use everything so that we can fairly represent everything.
Exactly. Good answer.
And to be fair, To Dropbox, we were using Dropbox long before Google Drive came out.
That's right. That is correct.
Google Drive is only a few years old.
That's right.
The Drive part.
That's right. So here it brought in our logo, and you'll notice it's very big. If I click on it, I'll get the handles around it so I can make it smaller, and I can move it around.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm going to go ahead, and I want to put it here.
Okay.
But I need to make this row bigger, right? I'm going to have to drag that row bigger so I can just stick that in there.
Perfect.
Oops, I'm going to click away first and then click on it and bring it up. And you could make it whatever size you want to. So now I think, let's take a look at, let's bold our total. Okay. And then let's go ahead and we're going to take a look at a chart, and then I'm going to show you how this looks when you print it so you don't have all these lines on here.
Okay.
Okay. So let's go ahead and I'm going to select the chart, and I'm going to show you a quick and easy thing down at the bottom here. It's called Explore, in the bottom right.
Explore your data. Explore
your data. And when it comes up, it's going to show you a bunch of things you might be thinking with this. And one of the things is it brings up a whole bunch of different charts. It says, do you want to look at the count of paid to? You want to look at it as a bar, as a pie?
That's really great. It's
count of transaction
You don't have to think about it. It's showing you all these different options.
It's showing you all these different options.
So you can say, oh my gosh, that's what I want visually.
Right. So let's say that we wanted to do this one, the count of who we paid to. Okay. So we can just click on this and drag it out onto our page. And then, oops. And then what we can do is we can make it smaller.
I noticed when you dragged it out, the labeling did not come.
The labeling didn't come. Yeah, I don't know if that's...
Show them what the labeling... Oh.
Yeah. Oh, whoops. Well...
Right here.
See over here the labeling where it says it's telling you what it's doing. But we're going to add that in. I don't know why that's not coming up by itself. If you click on it, you'll see a little drop-down menu. And you can delete the chart. You can save it. You can do different things with it. But we're going to go ahead into Advanced Edit. Now, this is the way, and I'm going to move this over so we can see our chart too. This is how you can do your customization.
Right.
Okay. The first thing is just your chart title. Maybe we want to bold the chart title. Did it bold?
Yeah.
Yeah, it bolded. Yeah. Right. It didn't reflect here. It's reflecting here. This is where we're looking at it.
The preview.
Right. And here's the legend. Now it says it's on the right, but guess what? It's not. But if I click right, there it is on the right. There it is. Maybe I want to do the labeled one. That's where it points to it, which is kind of cool.
I think it's alarming that 40% of our expenses are nails.
That's the way it goes.
But it's important because in a lot of our videos, we're filming just our hands pointing at the iPad and the iPhone, and I don't think people would like it if we had shoddy looking nails.
No, they need to look nice. That's right. So you can go ahead and you can change, all kinds of things on your chart.
Right.
You can change
just
the font.
Format it just like we just went through.
Exactly. Exactly. Slices. You can make it 3D. This is kind of fun.
Oh, yeah.
So it gets a little 3D. I don't know what maximize.
Whoa, it's really
big. Make it big. Okay. And we're going to just update that. And now we've got, we got to make it a little bigger so we can see all the things. So now when we print this.
Okay.
Let's see what it's going to look like. I'm going to lose my
I love the charts, though. It's just a nice little visual.
It's really nice. You can change the background color. You can change these
representation
colors.
of your data.
Exactly. So now if I go to the printer, I have some options, of course. Current sheet, all sheets, or just what I have selected.
Okay.
Okay. I can repeat the row headers on each page, which is nice. So if my list of expenses went way down, I could set a header for just, and then those would repeat. I'm going to say no grid lines.
Okay.
I only want the grid lines I put in to show up.
Okay.
I can include the document title, the sheet names, the page numbers, and so on. And then you've got your different ways of looking at it, fit to the width.
Right.
I'm going to go landscape. And when I go to print, it's just going to bring up the print dialog box now, and I'll be able to see a preview.
Ooh, doesn't that look nice?
Doesn't that look pretty? So you can see that we don't have any lines anywhere else except for where we put them. Now, maybe we would go in, maybe we want lines in here, and we could add those using the feature that I showed you.
Yep.
So that's how you go ahead and print.
And
then you can choose your things here and hit cancel and so on.
So there's also some tools.
One tool that we could look at is spelling.
Yeah.
It's not
always helpful.
It's always helpful. It does not do dynamic spelling in here. Like, look, descriptio. Obviously, that's wrong. It doesn't show you the little red line. Maybe it's because you're working with numbers in here. I don't know. But we'll go to tools. We'll go to spelling. and it's going to load, and it says it didn't find any.
What? It likes descriptio.
It's descriptio. Maybe because I have that chosen. Let me select the whole thing and do it. Tools, spelling.
Say, search the rest of it.
What? All right.
Well,
maybe it's a word.
Maybe it's a word.
All right, let's put a NN on it.
Yeah.
That is definitely not a word. Come on, Google. There we go.
There we go.
And it says, do you want to change it to description? We'll go ahead and change it. Okay. So you can do.
So it doesn't do auto spelling correction or suggestions. But you can go and manually do it, or run the little spelling program. Right.
So in an advanced, we're going to do an advanced video somewhere down the line, and we're going to be talking more about formulas, about using multiple sheets, about conditional formatting, sorting and filtering. Right. We'll look at more of the database features of the program, and we'll look at form compilations and things like that.
And I'll go ahead and use this video that we've done to better educate myself on spreadsheets. So hopefully when we do the advanced, it won't be so mind-boggling to me.
Good job.
Thanks for watching the Sync Sisters Tech Bit.
And please subscribe to our channel.